Today we'll be discussing stepper motor. Okay, so this is the stepper motor component. This is how you can define stepper motor. A stepper motor is an electromechanical device which generates a discrete motion in response to DC electrical signals. Okay, so you're going to supply the voltage to the windings of the stepper motor. So what you'll see as output is the motor rotates. So either you can rotate the motor in clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. So based on the direction in which you are applying the voltage. So how actually it is done, to what windings you are going to supply the voltage. So all those details we'll be discussing in the later slide. Okay. So in this slide, what you are seeing is how actually we can define stepper motor. It is an electromechanical device which generates discrete motion in response to DC electrical signals. Coming to the applications of stepper motor. So these stepper motors are widely used in industrial embedded applications, consumer electronic products, and robotic control systems. And you can see a few examples here. The paper feed mechanism of a printer or fax, it makes use of stepper motor for its function. Just see, with respect to printers, to move the printer head or to provide the paper feed, the scan bar, whenever you're performing the scanning using the printer, okay, printer come scanner, in that case, you know how the scan bar will be moving. So in all these cases, stepper motor will be used. With respect to robots, for movement of the arms of the robot, stepper motor can be used. And with respect to webcam, for tilting the webcam or to zoom or zoom in, zoom out, or to focus, stepper motors it is used. Okay, with respect to digital cameras, for focus regulation, we can use the stepper motor. And in ATM machines, for bill movement, tray elevators, stepper motor is used. Right. So these are few applications of stepper motor. Coming to the stepper motor interface. So before going to the stepper motor interface, what you need to know is the working principle of stepper motor. So what you have to remember is, so the stepper motor works on the principle of electromagnetism. So what you find in the stepper motor is, you find the stator and rotor. So these are the two components you'll find within the stepper motor. So stator is actually, it is stationary and it is made up of electromagnets, whereas rotor is made up with permanent magnet. Okay, at what actually rotates is the rotor. So stator will be stationary and it is made with electromagnets, but rotor is made with permanent magnet. And to achieve the motion of the rotor, okay, rotor has to move. So for that, what is required is, you need to energize the coils, and you need to also control the direction of the power supply. So that will actually determine the direction of the magnetic field that is generated. So why this is required for the movement of the motor, that we'll see. Okay, for the timing, just know that stepper motor works on the principle of electromagnetism, and stator is actually stationary and it is made up of electromagnets. Rotor is made with permanent magnet, and for making the movement of the rotor, you need to energize the coils. And how many winding coil you are using in your lab for that stepper motor interface, that we'll see. With simple block diagram, we are going to discuss stepper motor interface. So just see, if it is asked to explain with example the stepper motor interface diagram, this is what the interfacing diagram you have to write. And what you can observe in this is the four windings. So stepper motor, it is having four stator windings. So this is how we have named the windings: winding 3, winding 2, winding 1, and winding 0. Okay. So the operating voltage for stepper motor is plus 12 volt DC, and stator windings are coils. They are actually connected to Darlington pair transistors for energizing the coil. Okay, so to which they are connected, the stator windings. You can see here transistors to which the stator windings are connected, and the base of the transistor, it is actually connected to port P1. See, for this interface programming, which port we are making use is port 1. So port 1, the bit numbers are port 1.19, port 1.18, port 1.17, and port 1.16. So 16 to 19 of port 1, they are used for stepper motor interface. In case of 7-segment display interface, we had used only 2 pins, right? So which are those 2 pins which we had used? Port 015, right? Port 015 for sending out the data bits, and port 02 for applying the clock pulse. So whereas in stepper motor, these are the 4 pins we are using, and what for these pins are used, that we'll see with the example rotation of the motor that we'll discuss in later slides. So for the time being, just know you need to write this interface diagram for stepper motor with 4 windings named as W3, W2, W1, W0, and the operating voltage is plus 12 volt. It is having these 4 stator windings, and the windings are connected to Darlington pair transistors for energizing the coils, okay, so that the motor rotates. And the base of the transistor, it is connected to port P1, port 1.16 to port 1.19. So the step angle of the stepper motor, it is 1.8 degrees. That means for one complete revolution, that means for 360-degree rotation of the motor, how many steps are required? It is 360 by 1.8. What you'll get is 200 steps. Okay, the step angle of the stepper motor is 1.8 degree. For one complete revolution, how many steps are required? It is 200 steps. 360 by 1.8. Okay. So the port P1 bits, P1.19, P1.18, P1.17, P1.16. So these 4 port pins, they are used to energize the 4 windings, the stator windings. So how actually it is done, that we'll see in the coming slides. And what pattern we need to send through port 1 so that the motor rotates, that we'll see. Okay. So these are the points you need to write. Okay. The working principle of the stepper motor, you need to write, that is, it works on electromagnetism with respect to stator and rotor. This is what you need to explain. So how many windings stepper motor you are using, and what is the step angle, and the windings are connected to that is the transistor. The base of the transistor, it is connected to these port pins, and this is the order you have to specify. Okay. Coming to the data pattern to be sent through port P1 to rotate the motor. So this is the data pattern you need to consider. So if you want to rotate the motor in clockwise direction, okay. So what is the order in which you need to send the bit pattern? Just observe port 1.19, and it is no compulsion that you need to supply the voltage for only one winding at a time. It is possible to supply voltage for 2 windings at a time, and the magnetic field will be generated in some direction. Okay, but here for simplicity, what we have done is we are trying to supply the voltage for only one winding at a time. Okay, just observe the pattern here. Initially, we are supplying for clockwise rotation. We are supplying the voltage for P1.19. So for the first W3 winding, we are supplying the voltage. Okay, that means that through this port pin, we are sending out a value 1. Okay, and so you know that the winding, it is the base to which the transistor is, that is the winding is connected. So the base is connected to port 1.60, the transistor base. So for that, we are sending out a value 1. Okay, so that the motor will rotate. Okay, just observe the pattern in which we are supplying the voltage. So first we are supplying the voltage to winding 3, then we'll supply the voltage to winding 2, then we'll supply the voltage to winding 1, and finally we'll supply the voltage to winding 0. So this is the pattern we are going to send in each iteration. The first iteration, you'll see 1 0 0 0. This is the pattern on these port pins we are sending. And the second pattern we are going to send is 0 1 0 0. The third pattern we are going to send is 0 0 1 0. And fourth pattern we are sending is 0 0 0 1. Again, we'll repeat it. So after supplying the voltage to winding 0, we'll again supply the voltage to winding 3 and so on. So if you are applying the voltage in this order to the winding, then what you'll see is clockwise rotation of the rotor. Okay, that is the stepper motor will rotate in the clockwise direction. So if you want to rotate the motor in anti-clockwise direction, then this is what the pattern you are going to use. So we'll supply the voltage to winding 0 first, then we'll supply in the next iteration, we'll supply the voltage to winding 1, then we'll supply the voltage to winding 2, and finally to winding 3. And this process will repeat so that the rotor rotates in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so this is how we can see this is what the data pattern you have to send for movement of the stepper motor. So for clockwise direction, this is what the pattern to be used. For anti-clockwise direction, this is what the pattern you have to use. So in each iteration, this is what the pattern change you need to make so that the motor will rotate either in clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So for supplying the voltage for winding 3, you need to send out 1 through port 1.19. So for supplying the voltage to winding 2, we need to apply through port 1.18. So for winding 1, to supply the voltage, we'll use port 1.17. Since the windings are connected to the Darlington transistor, and the base of the transistor, it is connected to these port pins P1.19 to P1.16. Okay. So now coming to the clockwise rotation, we'll see with still more details the clockwise rotation of the stepper motor. As I've already explained in the previous slide, for clockwise rotation, the voltage is first supplied to winding 3, through which pin? It is port 1.19, since winding 3 is connected to, through port 1.19, then to winding 2, that is through port 1.18, and then to winding 1 through port 1.17, and finally to winding 0 through port 1.16. So this is the order in which we are supplying the voltage to the windings of the stepper motor for clockwise rotation. So that a small diagram I have written for explaining that. So just see, it is a 4 stator stepper motor. We are seeing 4 windings: winding 3, winding 2, winding 1, winding 0. And these windings are connected through port pins: port 1.19, port 1.18, port 1.17, and port 1.16 respectively. We are you can just see the first diagram where we are trying to supply the voltage to winding 3 through port 1.19. So the motor, this is the rotor. These are the stator windings what we are talking about, which is stationary, and this is the rotor which will be rotating. Okay. So based on the direction where the magnetic field is generated, the rotor will rotate. So assume this rotor is, that it is made with permanent magnet rotor. Okay. So here, just a minute. Are you all able to hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There was some power failure, it seems. That's why I thought whether you are able to hear or not. Okay. So just see, in this stepper motor, what you are seeing is the rotor. Whatever you are seeing at this center, this is called as the rotor, and these are 4 stator windings which are stationary. Okay. Stator is actually made with electromagnets, and rotor is made with permanent magnet, and we are trying to supply the voltage. So if you want to achieve motion of the rotor, okay, what is required is you need to energize these windings or coils. And it is also not just you need to energize the coil, it is also required to control the direction of the current. So that actually determines the direction in which the magnetic field is generated. Okay, so this is the order in which you need to supply the voltage for clockwise rotation of the rotor. So first we are supplying the voltage for winding 3 through port 1.19. See, the rotor rotates. By what angle it is going to rotate? The step angle for the stepper motor is 1.8 degrees. So each time you supply the voltage for each of the winding, by 1.8 degrees, the stepper motor will rotate. So for one complete revolution, that is for that is 360-degree rotation of the rotor, how many steps are required? It is 360 by 1.8. It is 200 steps. So this is the number of steps required for rotating the rotor that is for one revolution. So just see the first diagram. We are trying to supply the voltage for winding 3 and the rotor rotates. Since the magnetic field is generated in this direction, the rotor rotates. So next we are supplying the voltage. Just see the second diagram. After supplying the voltage to winding 3, next we are trying to supply the voltage to winding 2 through port 1.18 and the rotor rotates. Okay, so in this direction, the magnetic field will be generated, the rotor rotates. So next, winding for in the third diagram, you can see for winding 1, the voltage is applied through port 1.17 and the rotor rotates. So finally, in the last diagram, you can see we are supplying the voltage to winding 0 through port 1.16, the rotor rotates. So in this direction, the magnetic field will be generated, so the rotor rotates. So that I have taken a diagram here. Just observe in this diagram. So these are the 4 stator windings you are seeing. This is the rotor. It is like gear-like symbol what you are seeing. That is the rotor which is moving. And just see the order in which we are supplying the voltage for rotating the motor in clockwise direction. See, first we have supplied the voltage to winding 3, then we are supplying the voltage to winding 2, then to winding 1, then to winding 0. So this is the order in which we are supplying the voltage, and you can observe the rotor is rotating in clockwise direction. If you are doing vice versa, if you are supplying the voltage in this order, then the rotor will rotate in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so this is about the stepper motor. So just write the simple diagram of stepper motor with 4 windings. Since stepper motor has 4 stator windings, actually there are different configurations in which stepper motor comes. For instance, in your lab you are using 4 stator stepper motor. With respect to that only we are doing all the discussions. Okay, so stepper motor, it is having 4 stator windings. The operating voltage for the stepper motor is plus 12 volt DC. The stator windings, they are connected to the Darlington pair transistors for energizing the windings or the coils. Okay, the base of the transistors, they are connected to port 1, P1.16 to P1.19 pins. The step angle of the stepper motor is 1.8 degree, and each time we need to supply the voltage to the windings. So at least for one winding we need to supply the voltage so that the rotor rotates. So if at a time, if you try to supply the voltage for all the windings, then you cannot see the movement of the rotor. Okay. So at a time, for simplicity, here we are supplying the voltage for only one winding. Okay. So for clockwise rotation, this is the order in which we are supplying the voltage. Winding 3, winding 2, winding 1 and winding 0. For anti-clockwise rotation, we are supplying the voltage for winding 0, then winding 1, winding 2 and winding 3. So that is the order we are following. So, but if you want to supply the voltage for 2 windings at a time, say for example, winding 3 and winding 2, that is also possible. You can supply the voltage for say winding 3 and winding 2, where the magnetic field will be generated in this direction. Okay, the rotor will rotate. Okay, you can see the teeth of this, that is the rotor. So they get attracted to wherever the magnetic field is generated, and it makes the rotor move. Okay, so this is how the stepper motor will work. Similarly, in the next iteration, you can supply the voltage for winding 2 and winding 1, where the magnetic field will be generated in this direction. So next, you can supply the voltage for winding 0 and winding 1. So for 2 windings at a time, you can supply the voltage, or for one winding at a time, you can supply the voltage so that the rotor rotates. Okay. So just remember the pattern you need to set in each iteration for making the motor rotate in clockwise direction. That's what you are seeing in this slide. Okay. And which are the port pins you are using for supplying the voltage? It is port 1.19, which is connected to winding 3, port 1.18, which is connected to winding 2, port 1.17, which is connected to winding 1, and port 1.16, which is connected to winding 0. Okay, if you have understood this, code is very simple. Only thing is you need to deal with only these 4 pins of port 1, port 1.19 through port 1.16. So how actually we are going to send and what to which register we have to write the data, that you all know. We need to send out a 1 for supplying the voltage to winding 3. You need to send out a 1 through port 1.19. In the next iteration, you need to send out a 1 through port 1.18. Only that pin need to be logic 1. How we are doing that, to which register you are going to write, that also you know. So if you want to send out a logic 1 through a particular port pin, you know which register you have to configure. It is IO set register. So once particular pattern is sent out, we'll clear the entire status of those pins, those 4 pins, P1.19 to P1.16, and a new pattern will be sent out that will be written to the IO set register. So this process will be repeating. So infinitely, if you repeat, then what you'll see is the rotor will be rotating in clockwise direction. Okay, so that we are seeing in this implementation. So this is actually the second program of your lab syllabus. Okay, this is the first program on stepper motor we are discussing, but this is also a lab syllabus program, which is the second program. This is how the question is. Develop an embedded C program to drive the stepper motor interface to rotate the motor in clockwise direction. This is the question. To start with, we'll include the header file stdio.h, then we'll include lpc214x.h, then we have written the delay routine. Actually, stdio.h is not required since we are not using any printf scanf in this program. You can just skip this stdio.h. Okay. The delay routine is required. As I told, after one pattern is sent out, it should stay for some period of time. If you don't introduce the delay, then it simply moves that the movement will not be able to identify. So that's why after each movement, if you are introducing the delay, you can just see how actually it is going to move and by how many steps it is going to move. All those things you can visualize clearly. So that's why delay is required. The same delay routine we have used here. So what is that delay routine? The nested loop. So void is the return type of the function we have given. Name of the function is delay. And kindly note, stdio.h is not required for this program. You know what for you're using stdio.h. Kindly you can remove this. And lpc214x.h is required since all the register definitions are found in lpc214x.h header file. And this is the function header we have given for delay. Void delay of unsigned int x. Okay, and local variable we have taken. This is the nested loop we have written, while x minus minus, this is the decrement loop for outer loop we have taken, and increment loop for the inner loop. It is a null statement we have written within the inner loop for I equals 0, I less than 200, I plus plus semicolon. Okay, this keeps on repeating until the test condition fails. Once the test condition fails, control comes outside. So this is just a nested loop for killing the time. Coming to the main function, okay. So this program is very small, compact, and it is very easy also. Programs on stepper motor. Within the main function, I told any interfacing programs you take, you need to configure 2 registers in the main function before proceeding further with communication between LPC2148 and that actual interface component. So what are those 2 registers you have to configure? One is pin select register and other one is the IODIR register. Remember, these 2 registers are to be configured given with any interfacing program. Okay, so within the main function, this is what you are going to do. And you know that say since in this interface we are using P1.16 to P1.19 port pins of port 1. Okay, pin select 2 is the register you need to configure. To make port 1.16 to port 1.31 pins of port 1 function as GPIO port pins, we are going to write 0 to this pin select 2 register. So this is what you need to do. You know, pin select 0, it is for port 0.0 to port 0.15, and next pin select 1, it is for port 0.16 to 31. Okay, if you want to make those port pins function as GPIO port pins, that register you are going to use, that is pin select 1. If we are dealing with port 1, then you need to write 0 to pin select 2 register, so that these pins will be configured as GPIO port pins. So next step is you need to configure IODIR register. Since port 0 dot, sorry, port 1.16 to port 1.19, these are the 4 pins we need to configure as output port pins. I need to write 1, okay, to these to these bit positions in IODIR register. Just observe what statement we have written. I need to use the number as IODIR 1. So IODIR 0 is associated with port 0. IODIR 1 is associated with port 1. And which bits we have written 1, you can just observe. So this is hexa first, least significant hex 0. This is for bit 0 to bit 3. Let me write it here so that you get clarity. See, what is the status we have written is F followed by 4 zeros we have written. So this is for bit 3 to bit 0, correct? And which bit we need to write 1? It is bit 16 to bit 19. So these bit status must be 1. So in the IODIR register, just check bit 19 to bit 16 are written with 1. Rest of the bit status will be 0. So that what will be the 32-bit data you are going to get, that is to be written in IODIR 1 register. It is, see, higher order 3 hex zeros, then F followed by that 4 hexadecimal zeros. So this is the 32-bit data you are going to write to IODIR 1 register, so that it is going to set or it is going to configure port 1.16 to port 1.19 as our output port pins. Since we need to send out the logic 1 through these port pins for energizing the windings of the stepper motor so that the rotor rotates. So this is what the port pins we are configuring as output port pins. So these are the two statements you need to write. Pin select 2 written with 0 for making port 1.16 to 31 as GPIO port pins, and IODIR 1 register should be written with 000 F followed by 4 zeros, so that port 1.16 to port 1.19 they are configured as output port pins. So now we can start with the infinite while loop. While 1 will open the floor brace, and we need to supply the voltage only through those 4 pins only, and at a time we'll supply the voltage for only one winding. Okay, so this is what the for loop I've written within this infinite while loop. Since this process has to be repeated infinitely, since it is the problem for rotating the motor in clockwise direction, how actually we are drawing the stepper motor interface. So for that, what is the first pattern you are going to send? In the previous slides we have seen, we need to send out the voltage for winding 3. Okay, so which is the pin you are using? Port pin for supplying the voltage to winding 3. It is port 1.19. Correct, port 1.19 is connected to winding 3. So first we need to send out one logic 1 to port 1.19. How we are going to do this? Just see what value we have initialized the 32-bit value to this register, to this loop control variable I. And one more thing, just see what type of variable I have taken as I. It is unsigned long integer I. Since 32-bit data we are trying to initialize to the variable I, this is the data type I have considered, unsigned long I. And in the for loop, in the initialization part, we have taken I value as 0x0008 followed by 4 zeros. How it is this 8 followed by 4 zeros? Since we need to take logic 1 at this bit status. That 19th bit position we are taking 1, and rest other bit positions we are taking 0. So what is significant for us is port port 1.19 to port 1.16. See, port 1.18 is 0, 17 is 0, 16 is 0. Only port 1.19 is made 1. This is 8. Okay, and next rest other bits. Port 1.15 to port 1.0, all those bits are 0, and higher order bits, that is port 1.20 to port 1.31, all the bit status are 0. So only we are taking 1 at bit position 19. Okay, and rest of the bit positions status will be 0. So what is the 32-bit data you are going to get? It is 0008 4 zeros. And what is the condition we are testing? So at a time, I told at least for one winding, voltage should be supplied so that the motor rotates. So you need to just terminate this inner for loop once we are done with supplying the voltage to winding 0. So what is the bit status you are going to get? The 32-bit data for supplying the voltage to winding 0. See, it is 1, right? At this hex position, you need to have the value 1. See, only 4 times the for loop will be repeated. Only 4 times. So first we'll supply the voltage to port 1.19, that is winding 3. In the next iteration, see, you are performing right shift operation. I equals I right shifted 1 time. So that what is the pattern that is sent out? 0100, where we are supplying the voltage to winding 2 through port 1.18 pin. Okay. In the next iteration, again right shift operation is executed, so that in the third iteration, we are supplying the voltage to, that is winding 1. And what is the pattern that is sent out? 0010. Okay, in that bit position, where this is port 1.17. So through port 1.17, we are sending logic 1. And in the fourth iteration, what happens? What is the value we are sending? It is 0001. So this is sent out through port 1.16. So that is winding 0. To winding 0, we are supplying the voltage. So once these 4 iterations are completed, again I need to start supplying the voltage to winding 3. Only 4 times this inner for loop will be executed. After that, control comes outside the inner for loop, where we are having an infinite while loop. Again, the process is repeated. We'll reinitialize I to 0x0008 followed by 4 zeros. Then we'll test the condition. Is it greater than or equal to, that is 000 followed by 4 zeros? If it is true, it enters. 4 times, the for loop will be executed. So this process keeps on repeating. So what statements we are going to write within the for loop, that will check. Okay. Hope this for loop header is clear. What is the initial value we have taken and why this value we have taken, and what is the test condition we have written? This is a decrement loop we have written. Okay. I greater than or equal to 0x 0001 followed by 40. This is until we supply the voltage to winding 0, we have to repeat the loop. So this is the data, 32-bit data we have taken. Since first time we'll be supplying the voltage for winding 3, and we are testing with this relational operator greater than or equal to. So once we, after completing supplying the voltage to winding 0, we'll stop the for loop. Okay. Then this is what the updation we are doing each time. Since this is the order in which you need to supply the voltage, first to winding 3, then to winding 2, then to winding 1, and finally to winding 0. Okay. And through which bits need to be 1 in each iteration. In the first iteration, that is 19th bit will be 1. In the next iteration, 18th bit. In the next, it will be 17th bit. And finally 16th bit will be 1. Okay. So just see, whatever the value we are having in I, the loop control variable, that value will write to IO set register. See the statement within the loop. IO set 1 equals I. So that means 19th bit in IO set register is written with value 1. Rest of the bit status is 0. So that means the port 1.19. So that pin status will be logic 1. We are supplying the voltage to winding 3. Then what we'll do is we'll introduce some delay. After that, we'll clear those 4 pin status by writing F to those 4 pin. Okay, how to do that? So just observe. IO clear 1 equals 0x000 F followed by that 4 zeros. So if you write this data to IO clear register, port 1.19 to port 1.16, whatever is the status, that status will be clear. After that, we are going to send out a new pattern that will be writing to IO set register. So each time you you supply the voltage, you need to see that you will be clearing by writing 000F followed by 4 zeros to IO clear register, and then you are going to send out a new pattern in the next iteration. So this process is repeated. Just observe how actually this for loop is executing. This is the initial value that is held in I. That is, we are supplying the voltage to winding 3. We test the condition. We have not yet completed supplying the voltage to winding 0. Control enters the for loop. Then I value is written to IO set register, which makes port 1.90 logic 1, which is in turn connected to winding 3. We are supplying the voltage to winding 3. Then we are introducing the delay. We are clearing those port 1 pin status by writing F to the IO clear register. After that, control goes to the updation part, where I is right shifted 1 time, so that now the I value will be 000 4 followed by 4 zeros. That will be the value. That means we are trying to send out the voltage through port 1.18. So 18th bit in IO set register will be 1. Rest other bit status will be 0. That is in turn connected to winding 2. So next introduce delay. After that clear the complete 4 pin status by writing this value to IO clear register. Then perform right shift operation. The new value in I will be for the third iteration. It is 00002 followed by 4 zeros. Okay, again that 00002 followed by 40 is greater than or equal to 0001 followed by 4 zeros. The condition is satisfied. Third time the loop is executed. Where in the third iteration, what happens? Port that is 17th bit in IO set register is 1, that which is making logic 1 at port 1.17, which is in turn connected to winding 1. So that means we are supplying voltage to winding 1. Then delay is introduced. Then we are clearing the pin status. Then I is right shifted. Now the new value in I will be in the fourth iteration. It is 0001 followed by 4 zeros. So we are testing the condition is 0001 followed by 4 zeros is greater than or equal to. It is not greater than, but it is equal to this value what you are testing. So control enters. So what happens in the fourth iteration? We are trying to supply the voltage to winding 0 by writing at 16th bit position in IO set register a value 1. Okay, that means it makes logic 1 at pin P1.16, which energizes winding 0. So then delay is introduced and we are clearing the pin status. Once we perform right shift for the fifth time, what happens to I? What is the value it is going to take in? It is all zeros. Higher order, all zeros. This will be 8. 408 followed by 30, but that value is not greater than neither greater than nor equal to 0001 followed by 4 zeros. So the for loop terminates. Since the test condition fails after 4 iterations, the for loop terminates. Then since it is embedded within infinite while loop, control again comes to the beginning of the for loop with this value initialized to I, and the process is repeated. Okay, this process keeps on repeating infinitely. What is the order in which we are supplying the voltage? Winding 3, winding 2, winding 1, winding 0. Again, winding 3, winding 2, winding 1, winding 0. At any point of time, if you check, at least for one winding, we are supplying the voltage so that the rotor rotates. Okay. So this is the second program of your lab syllabus. Are you all able to follow? Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if it were to be anti-clockwise rotation, you know the pattern. You need to first apply the voltage to winding 0, then to winding 1, then to winding 2, and finally to winding 3. Can you tell what changes I have to make in this program for supplying the voltage for winding 0 first, then winding 1, then winding 2, and winding 3?
Ma'am,
Tell me
I
the
is
changes.
equal to
And
I
for
is
loop
equal to
changes.
0001
Very good.
140.
Okay. Yes. And what is the condition I need to test? Is it
I
greater
less
I
than
than
or
or
equal
is
to?
equals
less
to.
than or
Less than
equal
or
to
equal to an
0008
updation here.
40.
This is left
Left
shift
shift
or
to
right shift?
left shift by 1, ma'am.
Left shift. Okay, that's all. No other change. That is again the seventh program of your lab syllabus. We'll see that. Before to that, just know that for anti-clockwise rotation, the voltage is supplied to winding 0 through port 1.16, then to winding 1 through port 1.17, then to winding 2 through port 1.18, and finally to winding 3 through port 1.19. That I have shown illustrated in this diagram. See, for winding 0, we are supplying the voltage. The magnetic field will be generated in this direction. In the second diagram, you can see we are supplying the voltage to winding 1. Field will be generated in this direction. And you can observe the rotor will be rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So next we are supplying the voltage to port 1.18, and finally we'll supply the voltage to port 1.19. If you just observe the direction in which the magnetic field is generated and the direction in which the rotor rotates, and you can also observe how in which order we are trying to energize the winding. So this is how we are going to rotate the rotor in anti-clockwise direction. That we can see in this program. This is actually your seventh program of the lab syllabus, and second program we are discussing on stepper motor, and it is LPC 214, etc. The rest all remains the same. Okay. Pin select 2 is written with 0. IODIR 1 is written with 000F followed by 4 zeros. then this is the infinite loop. As you told, this is the for loop header you are going to write. I equals 0x 0001 followed by 4 zeros. I less than or equal to 0x 0008 followed by 4 zeros, and it is left shift operation. Okay, just see, write this I value to IO set, introduce delay, and clear that complete 4 pin status by writing 1 to those bit positions in IO clear register. Repeat the loop infinitely. Okay, return 0, close the program. Right, this is anti-clockwise rotation. This is another type of question you can expect. Either you may be asked to drive the stepper motor to rotate the motor in clockwise direction, or you may be asked to rotate the motor in anti-clockwise direction. So there is one more type of question you can expect that you can see in this third program. Develop an embedded C program to rotate the stepper motor by 360 degrees in clockwise direction and by 180 degree in anti-clockwise direction using the stepper motor interface, and introduce suitable delay between successive steps. So if it is given the angle of rotation of the stepper motor, you need to find out the count. By how many steps you need to rotate the rotor so that the angle of rotation will be 360 degree. Similarly, what is the number of steps by which you need to rotate the motor so that the angle of rotation is 180 degree. So clockwise 360 degree, that means one complete revolution it has to rotate clockwise, and half of the revolution it has to rotate anti-clockwise direction. So how to find out that count value? So this is the calculation you can make. Okay, the number of steps required for rotating the motor by the specified angle, that is given by count equals angle of rotation by step angle. Okay, what is the angle of rotation given as per the question? 360 degree in the clockwise direction, 180 degree in the anti-clockwise direction. You know the step angle for the stepper motor what we are using is 1.8 degree, and again it depends. Okay, for in your lab whatever the stepper motor you are using, it is 1.8 degree. If it is in the exam, from theory point of view, they may give you a different step angle. Based on that, you have to calculate the count. That will be specified in the question. Okay, so here since it is from lab point of view we are doing, the step angle is 1.8 degree. So with that you can find out the count. What is count 1? For rotating the motor in clockwise direction for 360 degree, it is 360 by 1.8. You will get 200 steps. We have already seen in the previous slides, for one complete revolution 200 steps I need to move, so that it will be 360 degree rotation of the motor. Similarly, I need to find out clock 2, that is count 2 for anti-clockwise rotation. 180 by 1.8, you will get 100 steps. So by 100 steps, if you move in anti-clockwise direction, it will be 180 degree rotation of the stepper motor. So this is how we are going to find out the counts. So the angles may be different and the step angle may be different. Just check out by what angle the stepper motor is to be moved and what is the step angle. Based on that, you need to find out the count, and that count you need to use in your code for rotating the motor by that angle. Okay, we'll see the implementation. Same delay routine we have introduced, we have written, and after that just take two variables, to improve the readability. I've taken clock and anti-clock. These are the two variables which is initialized with that counter values whatever we have calculated. Pin select 0 is initialized and IO dir 1 register is initialized with this value. Okay, after that infinite while loop anyway we are going to write, within which these are the values we are initializing to clock and anti-clock variables. Since we need to rotate the motor in clockwise direction by 360 degree, so 200 steps are required. So clock counter is initialized with 200 and anti-clock counter is initialized with 100. Okay, so just see, we have written a while loop here while clock is not equal to 0. The clock value is 200, 200 not equal to 0, condition is satisfied, control enters the loop. The same for loop we have written. So this for loop will be executed only 4 times. Okay, since we need to rotate in clockwise direction, this code we have already discussed. What value to be initialized to I, what is the test condition, and updation part you already know. We are writing this data. After that, we'll decrement the clock counter. That is, if minus clock equal to 0, then we'll break the for loop. After those many rotations are completed, after one decrement of the clock counter, we'll check whether its value is 0. If it is not 0, control goes to the updation part where I is updated. Then it tests the condition and it repeats the loop. After 4 times the loop is repeated, the test condition will fail and it comes outside the for loop. Then it comes to the beginning of the while loop to check this condition. Is clock value is 0. If it is not 0, it reinitializes I to this value and it repeats. So once clock takes the value 0, control comes outside the inner for loop, as well as the outer while loop will also be terminated once clock becomes 0. Repeat the same loop, nested loop, for anti-clockwise rotation. So what is the while loop? You are going to write while anti-clock counter you need to take not equal to 0. You know the for loop header to be written for anti-clockwise rotation. Same statements. Decrement anti-clock counter and then just check if it is 0, then we'll break the inner loop. If it is then we'll also break the outer while loop. Once the outer while loop is also that is terminated, it is an infinite loop within which these while loops are written. Again, the clock counter and anti-clock counters will be initialized with 200 and 100 respectively, and the process is repeated. Okay, so this is how we can make the motor rotate in clockwise direction by 360 degree and anti-clockwise direction by 180 degree. Are you getting? Are you able to follow? Yes or no? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the 3 possible questions you can expect on stepper motor. It's very simple. Just write that interface diagram and what are the points to be written. I'll share it. You can easily go through. It is very simple. And these are the 3 questions, out of which 2 are your lab syllabus program. One to rotate the motor in clockwise direction, other for to rotate in an anti-clockwise direction. The number of that's the angle of rotation is not specified in the question. Infinitely will be rotating the motor in clockwise or in anti-clockwise. So these are the 2 programs in your lab syllabus, that is 2nd and 7th program. 2nd program to rotate in clockwise the motor, and the 7th program is to rotate the motor in anti-clockwise direction. So with respect to theory point of view, this is one more possible question which you can expect, where the angle of rotation is given and in which direction you have to rotate, that will also be specified, for which you need to do a small calculation given with the step angle. That will also be specified in the question. Since it is continuation of the lab programs, we are assuming that it is 1.8 degree the step angle. But in theory question, they will specify the step angle, angle of rotation, and the direction of rotation, based on which you need to do the calculation, and accordingly you initialize the counter in your program and write the program. Okay. Hope all of you have followed all these programs what we have discussed. Yes or no? Clear? So this completes stepper motor interface. Have you all followed stepper motor interface?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class. Faculty is waiting. We'll stop. Thank you. Okay.